All right, thanks, guys. We are currently hitting at 60% in our last 20. Board member package plays on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website as well. Link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/Brock Page. All right, Northwestern takes on Boston College, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that matchup. Boston College is the 2-point favorite in this matchup here. Totals at 132. Saw a half a point fade of BC and movement upward on the total. Boston College opened as the 2.5-point favorite down to -2. Total open 129 up to 132. 69% of the consensus are leaning toward Boston College. 64% shaded toward the over. Boston College has lost their last 3 straight games. They're also 0-5 against the number in their last 5 straight. They're scoring just 66 points per game on average, and they're shooting just 40% from the field. Now, the Wildcats of Northwestern on the other side, winners in 2 out of their last 3. They're also shooting 79% from the stripe. Pete Nance is averaging 12 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Ryan Young, 6 rebounds, 10 points a game for him. And Pat Spencer, 12 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists on average per game. Now, total-wise, Northwestern, 3 out of their last 6 did stay under the total. Meanwhile, BC is 5-3 to the under themselves. I'm going to lean toward Northwestern in this spot here, catching points. Give me the Wildcats +2 and the under 132 in that game. Next matchup, Iowa taking on Syracuse, and that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Orange are the 4.5-point favorite, total 145. We saw a half a point move towards Syracuse and movement downward on the total. The Orange open as the 4-point favorite, up to -4.5. Total open 145.5, down to 145 even. 62% are leaning Iowa, 63% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Hawkeyes are +170 on the money line. Iowa's been successful in what am I trying to say here? Iowa's won. They're victorious in 4 out of their last 5. They're 4-3 against the spread overall for the year. Their offense is averaging 81 points per contest. Luka Garza, 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. Joe Wieskamp, 11 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. Now, Syracuse on the other side, they dropped their last 2 straight. They've also failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. And when it comes to the total, Syracuse is 60% to the under at home. Iowa is 5-2 to the under overall for the year. So I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take the Hawkeyes +5 and the under 145 in that game. Next matchup, Butler taking on Ole Miss, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Rebels are the 2-point favorite, total at 130. We saw a half a point fade of Ole Miss and movement upward on the total. Once again, the Rebels open as the 2.5-point favorite, down to -2. Total open 129 up to 130. 66% are leaning Butler, 65% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Bulldogs of Butler are +105 on the money line. Butler's also undefeated on the year, 7-0 straight up on the season. 5-2 against the spread in those 7 games. They have marquee victories over Minnesota, Missouri, and Stanford. They're shooting 49% from the field thus far, and their defense ranks in the top 10 in points allowed. They're giving up just 55 points per contest. They also rank in the top 5 in defensive rebounding. Kamar Baldwin, 16 points a game, 4 rebounds for Butler. Bryce Inzie, 13 points a game, 8 rebounds for him. And Bryce Golden, 10 points, 4 rebounds a game for Bryce. Now, Ole Miss on the other side, losers in 2 out of their last 3. They've also failed to cover in 3 out of their last 6 games. They're averaging just 69 points per contest, and they're shooting just 42% from the field. Total-wise, Ole Miss is 75% to the under at home. Butler 5-2 to the under overall for the year. I'm going to lean toward Butler +2 and the under 130 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, I'm just going to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Tuesday's college basketball action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily plays on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to on that site as well. And like I said earlier, we're hitting at 60% in our last 20 board member package plays. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website as well. And right at the end of this program, I'm going to attempt to explain to you the difference between what I do here on YouTube and that Patreon page. But once again, guys, excellent record there on Patreon. You can actually check out my record for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into my next two games for the show. And of course, I think you know what we're talking about. I'm talking about Michigan taking on Louisville, 7:30 Eastern tip-off in that matchup. The Cardinals are -5.5, total 139. We saw a 1-point fade of Louisville and movement downward on the total. The Cardinals open as the 6.5-point favorite, down to -5.5. Total open 141, down to 139. 61% are leaning Michigan, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Wolverines are +215 on the money line. The Wolverines are also undefeated on the season, 7-0 straight up on the year. They've also successfully covered the number in their last 4 straight. They're averaging 82 points per game, which puts them in the top 25 in the nation in scoring. They're also top 3 in offensive field goal percentage. They're shooting 52% from the field this year. Isaiah Livers averaging 17 points a game, 3 rebounds. John Teskey, 13 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks for him. And Xavier Simpson, 12 points a game, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds for the Wolverines. Michigan's also shooting 42.4% from downtown. Now, Louisville on the other side, they failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. They're also just 2-4 against the number in their last 6. The Cardinals are covering just 25% of their games at home. When it comes to the total, Louisville's 4-3 to the over on the year, 60% to the over at home. Meanwhile, Michigan 4-3 to the over on the season, 2-1 to the over away from home themselves. I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, buy it up, and take another underdog. Give me Michigan +6 and the over 139 in that game. And I'm going to slide my next and final matchup for the show, and I think you guys know which game we are going to discuss. That's right, I'm talking about Duke taking on Sparty. 9:30 Eastern tip-off at the Breslin. Michigan State's -6.5, total 130. No, I'm wrong. Let's try that again. Michigan State is -6.5. That is correct, but the total's at 147.5. Now, we did see a 1.5-point move toward Michigan State and movement downward on the total. Sparty open as the 5-point favorite, up to -6.5. Total open 149.5, down to 147 and a hook. 65% are leaning Duke, 62% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Blue Devils are +240 on the money line. Duke is 7-1 straight up on the year, 2-1 against the number away from home. They rank in the top 15 in scoring. They're averaging 84 points per contest. The Blue Devils also rank top 10 in offensive rebounding. Vernon Carey's bringing down 10 rebounds a game. He's also scoring 18 points per contest and 2 blocks. Trey Jones, 15 points a game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. One thing to note about this Duke squad, Cassius Stanley is listed as out for tonight's action. Now, speaking of Cassius, Michigan State is led by Cassius, but what are you talking about? Michigan State has failed to cover in their last 3 straight, 2-5 against the spread overall for the year, and we're looking at a Duke squad who's 6-2 to the over. I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, buy it up, and take Duke +7 in the over 147.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are hitting at 60% in our last 20 board member package plays on that site. I like Duke +7 over 147.5, Michigan +6 over 139. Butler +2 under 130, Iowa +5 under 145, and last but certainly not least, I like Northwestern +2 and the under 132 in that matchup. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we are 60% in our last 20 board member package plays on that site. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that site as well. We do daily premium selections on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. And a lot of folks will ask me, what's the difference between what you do on Patreon and what you do right here on YouTube? And that's a great question. What we do is this. Here on YouTube, we typically handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total. Of course, if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game, side and total, in real life with your hard-earned money, you're guaranteed to lose in the long run. And as a matter of fact, you'll probably end up losing in the short run as well. The books are too sharp, they're too smart, they have way too much money, and the math is always against you. So what we do on Patreon is we really kind of focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage selections, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a whole lot better than it is on YouTube. And you can check out that current record for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.